Good morning. We'll call the Highway and Building Committee meeting for Thursday, June 14th, 2018 to order. We'll have a roll call, please. Which one do you
Mr. McConnell.
Present.
Mr. Tripp.
Present.
Mr. Legess. Mr. Vickery. Mr. Olchoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Mr. Hildebrand. Mr. Einfeld. Ms. Weber. Ms. Evans. Not here. Ms. Peters. Ms. Parker. Mr. Ritter.
Present.
Mr. Kinzinger. Mr. Wheeler. Oh, I didn't know he was here. Mr. Lear. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I have no public comments. Any public comments out there? See none. You've been distributed the minutes of the May 10th meeting. You had those sent to you. I need a motion to approve. Mr. Olthoff, second. Mr. Legess. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion approved. Okay. Mr. Rogers.
We have no biddings or lettings this morning. Next on the agenda is the pay estimates. I do have a few of those this morning. First one is our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Gallagher Asphalt Corporation. This is for hot mix asphalt picked up at their plant, and that amount is $940.18. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Interstate Asphalt. This is for hot mix picked up at their plant, and that amount is $496.37. Next is for our county general maintenance 2018 supplement 2. This is payable to Graco Construction Company. They've started oil and shipping in the county, and that amount is $59,330.54. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Prairie Material Sales. This is for road mix aggregate picked up at their quarry, and that amount is $22,286.21. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for road mix aggregate picked up at the quarry. That amount is $11,123.01. Next is Limestone Road District for their 2018 general maintenance. This is payable to Graco Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $82,142.22. Next is Auto Road District for their 2018 general maintenance supplement 2. This is payable to Vulcan Materials for road mix picked up at the quarry, and that amount is $3,278.71. And last is for our county for 18-00000-00-BR. This is payable to Engineering Resource Associates. This is for the bridge inspections that have been performed this spring, and that amount is $5,310.00.
Okay, I need a motion to accept before we have a roll call. Ms. Peters, second. Mr. Legess. Okay, any questions before we have a roll call? Any questions at all? Roll call, please.
Mr. McConnell.
Aye.
Mr. Tripp.
Aye.
Mr. Legess. Mr. Olchoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Ms. Weber. Ms. Peters. Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
Carries. Okay. Resolutions. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna get that up there. You look up on the screen there, please.
All right, the resolution that you have in front of you is the resolution declaring surplus equipment at the Highway Department. And we are, if this gets approved, we are planning to have our garage sale on August 16th. Next slide. First item is a 2004 Navistar dump truck. It has about 120,000 miles on it. Next slide. We have 3 spreaders, all similar to this, that we're going to sell. Next slide. There is a 2004 Lawton Plow. Next slide. A 1999 Graco paint striper. Next slide. 2 Stihl Chainsaws, I think we purchased them probably about 15 years ago. They're shot. We can't repair them. Next slide is, and this is a mountable light stand. And there will be also a pallet of parts that are obsolete that no longer fit any of the vehicles or equipment we have. So that's what we're declaring surplus.
Okay, need a motion to accept the resolution. Mr. Just second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is the fuel station inspection. We have to have the tanks at the fuel station inspected once every 4 years, and that is required by the state fire marshal, and that inspection is going to take place on July 17th. The fuel station will be closed probably for at least 2 days. Next slide. It is going to be performed by a contractor. The tanks have to be emptied, and so we will be taking our fuel supply down during the next month here, and because they can pull off some fuel to go inside and inspect it, but we can't obviously have a full tank. So they will be doing the tank inspection internally, and then they do a tightness test. And like I said, it'll be closed for 2 days, and that's going to cost us about $14,000.
Any questions?
Thank you. I just wonder where the tanks are.
They're at our fuel station at 801 South Schuyler.
Mr. Just.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How frequently does that happen, Mark?
Once every 4 years. We did get a notice about our due date coming up from the fire marshal's office. So yes, we do have it scheduled. So I think we're due in August, or maybe the beginning of August, and we're having it done July 17th.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, next.
Okay. Next slide. Next on the agenda is equipment purchases. I've got a few things that I need to purchase, and I know the committee has asked me to notify you when I'm planning to purchase equipment. So
Even though it's in the budget.
yeah, even though it is in the budget. So the first thing, if you go to the next slide, is a vacuum excavation machine. In the trade, it might be called a soft excavator. Basically what it does is it uses a jet of water to excavate, and then there's a vacuum that sucks all of the material up. We rented one last summer because we had a bunch of utilities we needed to locate, and to do a couple of jobs. We needed to do the same thing this year, and Vermeer had a used one that they were going to let us rent, but they told us that if we would buy it, because they were wanting to sell it, that they would sell it to us and basically take the rent off of the sale price. We did use it for 2 weeks, and we inspected it. We really found it acceptable, and I did pull the trigger to buy it only because someone else was interested in it also. A new one costs about $86,000, so this one did not have a hot box on it, and they are installing a hot box. Basically, the hot box makes it so it can jet hot water. So like in the winter, if we need to replace a mailbox post or something, we can use this excavator to do that kind of stuff. We can also use it to get silt out of culverts, but we used it exclusively this time to locate utilities. Before our crews get out there and start digging, we know where the utilities are. Okay. Next, this purchase, I'm coming to you, we need to replace our grader. We have a 1999 Champion road grader. It's got 7,000 hours on it. It is becoming less reliable every year. Many, if not most, all the parts are obsolete. We can't get the parts to repair it anymore. The dealer, McAllister, is no longer in business, so we need to replace that. I would not be purchasing this till 2019, but I need permission now to order it because there's about a 6 to 8 month lead time in order to receive it. This is on the National Joint Purchase contract, and that price is $347,270. They will give us $20,000 for our grader.
You want that motion now?
Sure.
Need a motion, Mr. Olthoff.
Do you need a motion before our question?
Oh, go ahead.
A place like Ritchie, equipment auctions, I know one is in Morris. Could we get more for that grader by putting it on that, or no?
I did invite Bob LaLuna here. He's our fleet services manager, and he takes care of the equipment and has researched some of that stuff. If you'd allow him to speak on
Sure.
that.
Hi. Hello? Yeah, we've looked into that a few times when we get machines that are, we don't want to let go for nothing and make sure that we get the most we can for our money. And we've done some checking on that and followed it, and like the loader we did a few years ago, we would have lost money if we did that. So we always look to get the most for our old equipment, and this is a good deal just for what the thing is. We couldn't even get a head gasket for it, and it's a Cummins motor, but it's obsolete. It took 2 months last summer, so it's getting there's some parts on it, the clutch and stuff, and before it fails and is worth nothing, then we're trying to make the move now.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion to allow Mr. Rogers to do this. Mr. Olthoff and Mr. Tripp, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Well, no, you need a roll call for that. We need a roll call.
Do you want me to go through all of
No,
them
let's go.
first?
He's got several of them here, and then we'll do the roll call.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it all at once.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, next, need to purchase a single axle truck. This is another one that will be paid for next year in next year's budget, but because of ordering and lead time, we probably won't order this until October, but we wouldn't get it till the following September. So this would be for my 2019 budget. This is on the CMS contract. It's state bid. $170,494. It would be replacing a 2009 International. Currently, it's got about 86,000 miles on it, but it will have more miles by the time we get to it next year. So, that one. Any questions on that one? Okay. The next one here is one that just kind of came to my attention here recently. We have two 2000 John Deere 5310 with mowers, but we also have two other John Deere tractors that are larger that have the big mowers on them. We use these two to go around and just do, like, somebody called and said, we're having the rodeo in Pembroke, can you come out and mow? So we send those little tractors out and just get it done. If we were doing something along a road and we needed somebody to just go up and mow so that we could put some stone down or whatever, that's what we use those two tractors for. This was on my list to purchase next year, but a dealer has come and has offered us $8,000 for each tractor plus $500 for each mower, which would give us a trade-in of about $17,000. This tractor is on the CMS contract. The tractor is $84,376. The extra transmission power guard is $2,032, and the mower is $19,413. State bid gives us a discount of $23,222.01. The trade-in allowance from the dealer was $17,000. That would give us a total purchase price of $65,599.73. This isn't something I have to have, but because of that trade-in allowance, which is very attractive for tractors that are 18 years old, we thought that this would probably be a good time to do it. We're just moving it up a year. I do have it in my equipment budget. I'd have to move it around between departments, but we do have the money for it.
Any questions? Next.
Okay. Next, in my engineering department, we are trying to make the move to a GPS. When we have a contract, utility companies want an electronic file so that they can just throw their utilities on there and they know where everything's at. We haven't done that. We've been old school. And even contractors, when we award projects to contractors, they want the electronic data so they can make a model, so they can program this information into their equipment for grading and digging and all of that. So my staff went up to Joliet to Cara Company and had a demonstration. I wanted to make sure that it was compatible with our software, it was compatible with the GIS software we have, and all that was taken care of. This equipment would cost about $18,386.36, and that's for the controller, the GPS antenna unit, software, rods, batteries, the whole shot.
Any questions? Where are you at? 13. Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. Is there like some type of a software maintenance contract?
That was not offered to us, no.
I want, compatibility with operating systems as they move forward. That's what I wonder about.
Okay, I can check into
just
that.
check and see if there's, because of Windows, the next version, sometimes they don't talk, and then you're sitting there with another
I will check on
albatross
that.
around your neck.
Okay, any other questions? I need a motion to have Mr. Rogers go ahead and purchase these on, even though they're under his budget. Just this is for your information only.
I
Then
got one more thing.
Oh, we got one more.
Yep.
Oh, well, sorry.
That's okay. Spent a lot of money today. That's our conference room on the left. That table was designed specifically for the Highway and Bridge Committee back in the 70s. It takes up the whole room, and it's not very functional for us anymore. I would like to purchase some modular equipment that you see on the right there, that I could set that room up classroom style or conference room style and give me some flexibility. When I have meetings, I've got everybody's so far away, it just is time to probably get a new conference room set up there. Gonna cost probably about $5,000.
Where's she at? 8?
The, your proposed selection on the right, those are all individual tables, is that right?
Yes, they
And
are
they're
all.
like they would definitely be narrower than what these are.
Yes.
Yeah, those are, yeah, I've seen them, those actually, and you're right, it can set up in many shapes and
Yes.
what works best for,
Yes.
that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay, I need
All right,
a.
that's it.
You done?
I'm done.
Okay, you are, 'cause I told you you were.
Yeah.
I need a motion to allow Mr. Rogers to purchase these even though they're in the budget, Mr. Shane Ritter and Mr. Evans, okay. Need a roll call, please. Oh, question.
The other equipment, were those in the equipment budgets for the following years based on the estimates of when you needed to be paid back from the county and all of that?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just want to make sure this wasn't on top of that. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I didn't think so, but I didn't.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, we need a roll call, please.
That's what I just told him.
What's
We
that?
already had a motion.
We already have a motion? So we still need a roll call.
We already had a motion. Mr. McConnell.
Aye.
Mr. Tripp. Aye. Mr. Legess. Mr. Olthoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Ms. Weber. Ms. Evans. Ms. Peters. Mr. Ritter. Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Rogers before he leaves? Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Andrews. Or Mr. Gadbois, whoever's Mr. Andrews, I guess. That's me. Okay.
All right, first thing on the agenda is the facility dude report for the month of May. We had 165 work orders. In my training with Brian, that seems pretty typical of where we should be, this type of year, between 165 and 170. In front of you, you've got a financial report. Again, in speaking with Brian over the last 6 weeks or so, we seem to run about $15,000 a month in expenses. You'll see that's slightly up at $19,669.23, and that was due in large part to $3,400 expense out at the new jail for precision piping related to repair of some condensing units, air handlers there. And then $13,2705 expense at the annex with Reuter, and that was related to a phone system upgrade at the annex building. So if you take those two out, we're pretty close to where we've been on a monthly basis, as I understand it, from my conversations with Brian. So, any questions on that?
You scratching your head or you got a question? Oh, okay.
All right. Next on the agenda is the building report. We'll start with 189. Of course, that's this building. Condenser unit number 12, which serves the 5th floor. Andy's obviously familiar with that, as that's where he's at, and Diane as well, has Freon leaks. That was repaired by Precision a couple weeks ago. 6th floor roof repairs. The insurance company who insures the building came out, took a look at the roof, recommended some warranty work be done. That contractor that performed the work, which was obviously before my time, he came back here a couple weeks ago and performed the warranty work that was recommended by the insurance company. So that's all been completed. Condenser units, we've had the maintenance staff go through all of them here at this building. They've all been cleaned. Cottonwood is a major issue this time of year, and they were plugged up pretty good. So all those have been clean, and everything here, knock on wood, is operational at this time. At the courthouse, we were having issues with the air handler 1 there at the courthouse. We had Precision out. They replaced the filter dryers and expansion valves on that unit. It's working wonderfully right now. Condenser units, again, there were cleaned as well. ADA signage has all been installed inside the building. The directional signage is going up right now. We have the signage, but we're working on posts to get it installed. So that should be done here, hopefully within the next week or so. Something that's come up recently, WeatherBug reached out to us about the possibility of putting a camera on top of the courthouse. If you're not familiar with WeatherBug, I think they're hooked in with WGN somehow. You can go, it's all online, you can go to their website, you can check it out, you can pull up weather cameras from many different locations, from Naples to Chicago and all across the country. Kankakee Junior High School has one on their building right now. They've reached out to us, they're interested in putting one on the courthouse. Chief McCabe sounds like he's all in favor. You know, there have been some questions regarding, you know, allowing WGN or WeatherBug to put that on county property. Go ahead, Andy.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The conversations now are with IT and myself, allowing, because obviously we don't know if we want to allow access to our network. It's a security issue. So that we have to make sure that it's on a separate segregated line, because we would obviously not be able to monitor what comes and goes from a live stream camera. And that is an access point. People can't hack those things. So the decision, you know, is yeah, let's take a look at it. There's no reason not to. I'm sorry. Do we get paid? Not a bad idea. I can try. Doesn't hurt. Hey, but the just so you know, that's where it's at. It's really with Kevin right now, taking a look at what is our network capabilities, and if he says this is not good for the county, you have a risk, then we won't. I will recommend that we don't. You know, I don't see how we could go against that recommendation of information security. But beyond that, that's where we're at.
Mr. Tripp first.
Maybe I missed something, but why would we want two just pretty close to each other?
Good question.
I mean, you got one on East Ridge?
We've got, they have one. I was looking at it before I came in here. Kankakee Junior High School's got one there. So they, well, the county, as I understand it, the courthouse is the highest point in the county. Is that correct? So for coverage reasons, I think that's probably why they'd like it. And the junior high school, I looked at it, the feed is actually looking at a tree. So it's not very good.
As far as the security issues, I think that reaching out to other government bodies that may have one already might be a good idea. What's their experience with it? Have they had any trouble? What did they do to address the security questions?
That's an excellent idea. We'll follow up on that.
Mr. Wheeler.
The reason they want to put it on the courthouse, and the reason we want it on the courthouse is because it shows downtown Kankakee and the action in the buildings and everything down here. It's a marketing thing for the area.
Yeah.
You know, as long as there's not a car, you know, turning over and running into a building like it happened a few weeks ago. But,
Any other questions about that issue? Okay, you can check into that then. Okay.
Okay, at the old jail, we had the condenser unit, we had some issues with that, and all these condenser units came up a couple weeks ago over Memorial Day weekend when it was 95 degrees and everything was getting fired up. We had a rebuilt compressor there, as I understand it, was replaced 8 years ago. We had a new one installed there, obviously due to the nature of that facility with the number of inmates in there, it was critical to get that installed. The cost for that was $12,460, and that job has now been complete. Precision completed that actually earlier this week. Precision was out, I believe, on Monday or Tuesday and got that done. So that is back up and running. We just finished installing cables and cameras at the old jail as well. We were approached by correctional officers. They had some issues with visibility in some of the corridors at the old jail. So our maintenance staff went ahead and pulled all the wiring for those and installed those cameras as well. So that's been completed. Before I came in here, I just got off the phone with Kone Elevator. They were out last week to measure the elevator repair that we have going on. I'm in the process. He's going to be sending me the quote from the drilling company to drill out that hole. I believe, I don't know if Brian discussed this at the last one, but the hole was drilled on an angle previously. And there was some discussion with Andy and myself and Brian about, you know, taking the risk of installing the new elevator in a shaft that was crooked. I believe we all decided that wasn't a good idea, so we've got a quote coming to drill the hole out correctly. So hopefully I have that. I may have it by the time I get back to my computer. At the annex, we had again, condenser issues there as well. We had 2 motors go bad, and then 2 fans that needed to be replaced as well. They were broke. Those were repaired by maintenance staff, so was happy to be able to keep that in-house, save some money. And that repair cost about $1,300. That was done last week. The second floor conference room is completed. Tom Latham, we went in and took out some walls. That room does need carpeting. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. I'll discuss it with Tom, but that room does need carpet. Out at Jerome Combs, again, we talked about the expense with Precision. We had the 2 units, number 22 and 23, that were both broken. Chris continues to run like a crazy man out there. You know, and as I'm getting acclimated, you know, I can see that, you know, there really is a need for another person out there at Jerome Combs. You know, Chris runs like crazy as it is, but especially whenever we have time off, you know, it really creates staffing issues because we're pulling from other buildings to cover out there, and then we're short elsewhere. So just wanted to bring it to your attention that we really could use another body out there. And let's see. In addition to 22 and 23 that were reported by Precision, Chris fixed, I believe, 3 other units out there on his own. So we did save a little bit of money there as well by having Chris fix the air handlers up on the roof. So,
Kevin?
I just want to make it clear, going back to the other issue, emphasize what the chairman said is exactly right. It would be
courthouse?
For the weather bug.
Weather bug, yeah. Thank you.
Whether or not it's done, at no time will it, if we do, or the chairman chooses to go further, at no time will it ever touch the court system. I want to make it clear, and Andy did say that, I want to make it clear I'm not making decisions based on the court system's network. I don't want the chief judge thinking we're sitting over here and would allow anything to touch their network. Andy said it perfectly. If that decision was made, at no time would it touch the court system software. So I want to make sure if that gets back to the chief judge, we're not arbitrary making that and not talking to them. So
thank you for that clarification. Anything else?
That's it. Any questions?
Any questions, Mr. Tripp?
I noticed a lot of repairs are made with one contractor, and do we periodically farm that, I mean, not farm it out, get prices and bid that out in any way? Because a lot of money's being spent. And I'd like it up above board on how that's handled.
Well, obviously, I'm just,
It's just, if we can't do it, we pick up the phone and call so-and-so.
let Brian chime in. on
Brian?
that.
The issue we've had in the past is the timely manner that we received service. This has come up over and over again, and we've tried to use other contractors. It seems to fall by the wayside sometimes on how quickly they respond. Precision Piping, and I will say this out loud because I've used them for over 6 years now, when we call them, within 20 minutes, typically within a half hour, we have someone on the way. So we have used them consistently as our outside contractor for our heating and air conditioning issues. I don't have a problem calling other companies in, but again, the timely manner in which they respond was huge for us. So that was the reason why we've always stayed with them.
Okay, I understand that. Can we give us a report on how much we spend on outside contractors during the
Sure,
year?
yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'd like that if we can. I just want to keep everything
Yeah, I'll prepare something.
competitive and above board.
Sure. Ms. Evans?
One way maybe to make sure that the pricing that we are paying each time is randomly, after you've called them, then I don't know if there's who else in town besides Precision, but maybe, maybe it'd be too much of a hassle, but contact another one or two of local ones and give them the job that was just done as if it's an estimate, and find out what they would charge to come out and do the work that Precision just did, to make sure that we're staying in the market.
Right.
You know, that they're not, because they might feel, you know, okay, well, they're the ones that we call, and
Well, yeah, you don't want anybody to get too comfortable, so.
Any other questions for Mr. Andrews? Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any old business? Any old business? Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked, based on other conversations that have happened with this committee in the past, and actually came up in criminal justice yesterday, again, I asked Mr. Latham to come. The security issues that we have at the probation/public defender's office. This committee may have heard, and I thought we brought it up, that it happened again where people come in for their probation visit and they have weapons on them, guns, knives, and the only reason that they find out is because they're frisking them to cuff them to take them in, and so that's the only time they know that they actually have them, because there's no metal detectors on the doors or any type of security. We used to have a sheriff's police officer there with budget problems and cuts over the years. That doesn't exist anymore. It is an issue for safety. I will try to be as, you know, clean as possible. I guess that's a pun, but they catch people in the bathrooms taking sink baths, you know, with their clothes off. They walk in, there's naked people standing there. There is no security. They have cameras, not in the bathrooms, but they do have cameras in the building. We did do that. So the reason that we're here is because at some point in a quick fashion, we're gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And it's not just a magnetometer, as I was educated yesterday. It's not an X-ray, it's a magnetometer. Coming in the door, tell me later. But there's got to be somebody there to secure that. If somebody has a weapon, there has to be somebody there to secure it. So we've talked about, you know, like with the banks, do we have a situation where you walk in and it scans you and then somebody buzzes you in, you know, that kind of thing. The cost versus adding another person to the rotation for the courthouse. They all rotate and one person comes down there, you know, in that situation. But again, it's a full-time job. At some point, it's probably not just going to be one, because people take vacations and, you know, have sick days and things like that. So, I mean, it's not a little deal. The committee needs to know it. So I don't know, Tom, if you have comments about, did I explain the situation pretty well? Okay. Because the employees are not comfortable with what's going on in that building. So the committee kind of needs to make a decision, you know, do we go ahead and look at the cost of this fix and authorizing Wes to spearhead what needs to be done to secure that? You know, because it's, I don't know if you've been in the lobby over there. It's a big open lobby. You know, you come in, there could be a magnetometer, you know, there. But the nature of this, all their meetings, all their appointments are just all day long. They're not grouped between 8 and 12. So this isn't just in the morning, could we have somebody there? There's gonna have to be somebody there all the time.
Do we have an estimate of what that's gonna cost, and we
We
gotta
have to start that process.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure the committee was okay, know what we're doing, understands the issues, and this isn't a nice to have, it's kind of a, we gotta do something. And how much were those magnetometers, did they say, 15 grand, something like that? How much? 3,000? I like that one better than 15, yeah, believe me. So it's not, but again, there's structural stuff we may have to do with the door, we may have to have key access to everywhere. You know, to get into the building, you know, or maybe we don't, is the case, whatever the solution.
Can we get those numbers for our next meeting, then we have to okay it, then go to the executive board? And
Do you have time, Wes, to
If you
start
got
getting that
time.
on the radar?
If you can.
Because we're also moving forward with getting estimates on ramp work and courtroom work.
Right.
Because we have that date certain in September,
Right.
so
Okay.
it's a busy month for
Yes. Okay.
Wes.
If it's possible.
Yeah,
Okay,
at
good.
least get the ball rolling.
Okay. Any new business? Any other business? I do have some other business. Brian? Up here. Up here. My other, you be quiet a minute, please. My other business is, this is going to be Brian's last meeting here, and we really need to acknowledge what he has done over the past 6 years. He's just been a phenomenal employee. He's done exceptional work, and yes, and we appreciate what you've done, and we've canceled your retirement.
Resignation? Well, then Wes, it's nice knowing you. I'm kidding.
But just make sure you give him some kudos. And,
I want to thank a few people here. I especially want to thank Pat. When I came here, I wasn't a heating and air conditioning guy. I wired plenty of them, but I actually didn't know, quite frankly, how they worked. And I went to Pat with a lot of information, and he helped me. And we grew together in this department, and he was very helpful to me. And so I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me. So that was helpful. Another guy I want to recognize is Bill Conants. Bill came in here when we came here in 2012 as this field superintendent. It was a bit of a mess here when we came, and we cleaned it up and it made mass improvements here. This department changed a lot. Bill Conants took the job as field superintendent and did a job that nobody else probably wanted to do. He was the guy that got it done. I went to him, I turned it over to him, told him what I wanted done, and he went and got it done. He didn't make any friends. These guys in this department didn't like Bill very much because he made them do their job. And I want to thank him publicly for everything he did to make my job easier. So
pass on our condolences. Thanks.
I will. And he's still employed here. He works here at 189, and he does a lot of running and purchasing. He does all the purchasing for us for material and what have you. And he does a great job. And Wes knows and knows what Bill does. So he was huge in what we accomplished over this time frame. These guys in this department went down to 10 men. The ones we have here are great workers. They care about what they're doing, and I can't thank all of them enough either. They were huge. The other thing I know, and I brought this up over and over again, he needs another guy in this department. We need another guy in this department. You're gonna have to make the move. I'm calling on the chairman. Please make this move and get Chris Martin help at Jerome Combs. He's a heck of an employee, and the last thing we want to see him do is leave. If we lose that guy at Jerome Combs, we're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna be in trouble because not everybody's got full knowledge of that building like Chris does. So we need to get another guy there with him to get that move to the next level here. So I know Wes has asked for it. I've appealed to this committee over and over again. I'm asking you to please try and get this.
I want to add something to that too. Trying to find good, competent help right now at what we pay is extremely hard. So if we can bring somebody on and train them, have Bill train them and get it all going in the right direction, would be very, very helpful too. Because it's very difficult to find people that wanna come for what we pay, to be honest with you.
It really is. It really needs to happen here. So I'm again appealing to you guys to make this easier on Wes to get that done out there.
Helps us too.
Yeah, it'll
Because
help
they've,
everybody. It really will. So, that's all I really have. We worked really hard here. We worked really hard. There's still a lot of things that are wrong in this county. There's still, these buildings all are going to need we need to start changing this equipment out. This equipment is old. It needs to. Old. And it really is in need of a transition now to start getting this equipment updated if we're gonna stay in these buildings. You're gonna have to do it eventually. Probably my biggest concern in the county is that air handling unit 1 at the courthouse. That's about an $86,000 unit, and it's been there a long time. So if we have any concerns at all, that's probably one of them. So we just had some work done on it again, and to keep that one going is going to be tough. So I would plan for a transition on that if we don't do anything else right now.
I agree. I've worked on that. I've put it in.
Yeah, on both of them. So that's a tough one. Well, other than that, roofs are coming. Those are coming. So we've made massive improvement on our roofs. Our buildings are in good shape. Overall, I think we're doing okay maintaining them. So that's all I have. I thank you for understanding me. I'm not a politician. You all know that. I'm never very good at that. So,
But you got your job done.
well, that's
You
all.
did.
So thank you.
And again, we
Thank you for
we
allowing me to
appreciate
be here.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, upon that, we need an adjournment. You got two of them up there, and I don't care for either one of those guys. So with Mr. Legest and Mr. Olthoff. Thank you. Appreciate it.